could work out well, and then just going to see exactly what the plan is for Adam, because you know he's got that strange champion pool, so already the Jax, the Olaf taken off the board from him as well.
Now, what will Team BDS do as far as their solo laners and Mad Lions? Do they throw in that sort of tanky, supportive mid laner for Nisqy, allow the counter pick for Chasey in the top lane? That's probably where my instincts would lead, but Talia, not. The last two bans for BDS, it was the Jax and the Olaf, removed there by the Mad Lions, and we'll start to get a better feel here for how these comps are going to round out. I think you've got, like I mentioned, some strong engage tools from the jungle, pretty decent frontline disengage tools, as well as some pick power from at least the support.
Yeah, I think the Mad Lions are just missing a little bit more of that front line, to be perfectly honest. I think something like a Sion could actually do really well for Chasey, but again, I think leaving him for counter pick is going to be better, but never mind, blind Fiora into that top side. Now, we saw this from Chasey last split where he did look good, but I actually, despite the fact mechanically and he got these early leads, I wasn't the biggest fan of how Mad Lions tried to support him in those side lanes. So I think this is going to be a big question mark for Mad Lions now to see how can they set up their lane states to give Chasey that winning opportunity.
I mean, he played 2 games of Fiora during the regular season and went to both of them victories over a 6 KDA. So as you mentioned, yes, worked well. The answer into it, no surprise here for Adam, is going to be the Darius. Victor currently being hovered. And for Nisqy, where did they go? We talked about the fact, limited front line. You've now got side lane threat. You've got scaling. What do you want to see from Nisqy? Because in my mind, something a bit tonkier wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm curious if he ends up going for something like a Twisted Fate here. You just try and play full side lanes.
Full pick.
Yeah, just try and play for pick, try and play for sides. You've got great setup with the Vi, with the Thresh as well. Try and lean in towards that style. Even Arcade, you're talking about it yesterday, is hovering the Azir at the moment now. Remember, this is 13.4 Azir, has got nerfed, so maybe not the best, but actually going to be going for the Veigar in that mid lane. So we are getting some spiciness from Nisqy still.
Okay, so Nisqy has played 7 professional games of Veigar. He's won 5 of them. When we zoom out and look at these comps, I understand what BDS wants to do. How the hell does Mad Lions play this out?
Yeah, a lot of it's going to be side lane coming through from the Fiora, trying to see if you can set her up. You're going to have decent team fighting where the idea is Yoya goes in and then it's about zone control coming through with the Veigar. Hilly, because he's got that Thresh, going to be throwing out machine gun hooks, seeing if he can try and keep Aphelios safe and enabling him as the main carry. So a big 1-4 split push idea here for Mad Lions. Whereas when you look across at BDS, it's full-on team fight. Just try and get Darius in as easy as you can, with Shio being that main engage tool.
The one thing I'm a little nervous about here for Mad Lions, if they're ever in a position where they start to fall behind, when you look at a Darius, when you look at a Lulu, you look at a Sejuani running at you, you've got what? A Veigar baby cage is the only thing really slowing down the enemies?
But the nice thing is, it's a Darius. So as Darius is in the cage, he's in the safe space. This is the don't touch, you know. That's where you should be all right. But I think the problem is, as you say, once you start to go in towards, hey, can we flank from multiple angles? Can Shio get a big engage tool off? Or get a big ultimate off to engage? That's where I think you are going to struggle. But I imagine early game, you're going to have a lot of pressure from Yoya towards that top side. Make sure this Fiora is in a good spot. This Darius isn't really a threat, because otherwise this team just kind of falls apart for Mad Lions.
So let's talk about the early game. Let's talk about the junglers as we load up onto the ref. Mad Lions and Team BDS, they're going to pick up their first win of the spring split. We heard from Max. Sharks had a great interview with him, talking about creativity, talking about adapting their drafts. I think this draft counts for it, but what we want to see is the execution. And frankly, I want to see execution of BDS as well. Yesterday, their mid-game left a lot to be desired, is how I will frame it right now, Dagda.
Yeah, the biggest problem that I saw for them was just the way they tried to set up their lane assignments, where Nuke maybe was trying to catch a wave mid, where realistically should have been bot side, or Adam was kind of in a bad position, but flash forward!
Oh, sentenced to death. Nuke has still got that flash. 150, down to 100. Tick, tick, boom! Nisqy with first blood.
1 for Hilly. Great way to start the game for the Thresh in that bot side. The fact that you're running this Glacial Augment makes it so difficult for anyone to try and run away the second they get hit by the hook. So nice job there from Hilly to already set up Nisqy with a nice kill in the early stage.
And that is not a champion that you want to accelerate.
Yeah.
When you do look at the amount of damage, the fact that there's a tier already at 1 minute and 10 seconds, Nisqy is going to be over the moon. Allow him to build up that AP by spamming the Q, and that's exactly what Mad Lions would want.
Yeah, I mean, the fact you get a double start here on your items is fantastic for Mad Lions. And now Shio and Adam trying to make things happen, but Nisqy's here, spotted on a ward.
Oh, Adam and Shio stepping forward. They've got backup here from Nuke. Both bot laners are trading.
Fight.
Mad Lions have been forced away. All right, Dagda, brief moment. quick stat for you. When was the last time we saw a Vega on the LEC? This is an unfair fight because you just joined us. It was
2.5 years ago.
a spot on. Nukeduck actually played it in 2020, so you are literally bang on.
Look at the Irish there.
But zoom out of this. Shio, with a little bit of backup, is able to steal that red buff away. I can see Mad Lions have placed a ward just behind the BDS red buff and already starting to steal. So small advantage, or at least small clawback for Shio.
It's big for Adam, though, because essentially what this means is Elyoya can't do a 3-camp start and stay up on this top side for a potential play onto Adam. Now Adam actually gets to play very aggressive in this lane if he wants to, although having the level 2 hit for Chasey early causing a bit of issues.
Exactly. I mean, a little bit of extra time in lane allows Chasey to step forward, get that bully, push the wave, but he does need to be cautious. Remember, Shio cleared most of this top half of the jungle. If Chasey continues to pressure and step past that river, step forward, it will open a potential gank. You can see Shio clearing out his blue buff and a lot of aggressive trading because down in the bottom lane, we caught a glimpse there of Crowny Lebrov stepping forward, Hilly using that Hex Flash to threaten.
This sucks for Chasey. The wave is in a terrible spot, and Shio gonna hop over the wall to avoid that ward. Good call out there from Adam to let him know that this ward is down, but he needs to crash this. Otherwise, Adam just freezes this and he loses the lane.
Battle ball, battle ball. Chasey's gonna look for those hit points and steps. Sidesteps the flail. Will be able to dash forward. Flash out from Shio. Applies the red, gets the knockup. Flash forward, repulsed by some time, and Chasey's able to escape. It's not over yet, as in the bottom lane. Elyoya is looking for those denting blows, but Crowny's able to hop over the wall. Escapes with his life. Summoner spells blown. 1, 2, 3 for 1 in that top lane.
I like that we get to see the annoyance of both these side laners, where Fiora just about able to squeeze away because Shio didn't have his Q up, but Niski very low and in a bit of trouble here with Shio around, but we'll just back away.
Yeah, the flash not being available for Shio, I think, limits it. But look at this. Mad Lions continuing to step forward. They know they forced Crowny away. They forced his flash. So that's allowing a small invade. And now there's a counter punch. Dagda, we're going full LPL in this one. Action all around.
Elyoya is in a lot of trouble, though. Shio should be able to move up, but knowing that he has the flash, he doesn't want to go. Shio steps away from the ward, though. He's caught Elyoya here.
Oh, waiting for it. Waiting for the engage. Steps forward, not going to be able to find anything. I think the cooldown being too high at this low level, couldn't find that additional dash. What he will do, though, is pick up the Scuttle Crab. Shio, at least for now, pulling a little further ahead, and Niski already backed, already shopped, and TPing to lane, and we're still not dead. Now Adam continue to step forward, has the minion wave behind him, looking for those Qs, getting the spam out below 100. Chasey is going to be in trouble. The heal, the damage. Adam takes the solo.
He wanted to get the riposte there for Chasey as Adam went for the apprehend, but didn't quite get the timing right. So Adam manages to finish that one off. Hilly even on the roam up now with Elyoya, trying to see if he can hold on to this wave state in a decent spot for Chasey.
Man, all of a sudden, Adam, no flash, no ghost, has the threat of Elyoya and Hilly. Blue buff and a little bit low mana. Level 5 into the level 3s, no minions to deal with. The CC has to connect. Burning, pull back from the flay. The double apprehend, death sentence, and that is just easy, lemon squeezy. Denting Blows picks it up second for Mad Lions.
And a really nice job from Elyoya and Hilly there. So Hilly has the reset, knows that he's not going to be under too much pressure on bot side for Karzi, so moves up the top. Adam has to crash that wave. He's not running the TP, so if he ends up letting that wave freeze, Chasey just has an absolute field day. So Mad punishing the fact that Adam had to overextend.
Look at this, caught inside the baby cage. Hilly's not done yet. Another flawless spell shot forces the flash away from Nuke, getting him out. But Hilly has been everywhere, involved in both of the kills and really trying to set Mad Lions up in the early game.
I was very close there, Elyoya, just slightly too late to follow up there. Even the flay into the CC from Niski, super nice there. But you can see now Labrov moving into mid lane to try and help out there. Let Niski TP, or Nukeduck, sorry, TP back into mid. Nuclear, sorry.
Nuclear, I mean, there's too many nukes right now, as Labrov will get chunked out by Niski's ultimate. Okay, we may have a brief moment here of no action. 400 gold advantage to Mad Lions. Dragon went to BDS. The thing I do want to highlight is yesterday's game, BDS were significantly ahead in the early. Up 2.5k at 14, 3 KD, and more importantly, 2 Heralds as well. I think in terms of their gameplay, their early game, very strong. Where it fell apart was the mid game, the decision making, and of course, SK is just team fight engages. This is great for Mad Lions to already be in an advantageous position this early up.
I think the big one was how they actually tried to play lane assignments and not playing around vision, and now once more that vision going to come back to bite them as Adam slightly overextended, but the jungler is here.
2v2, Chasey can't really fight below 150, a lot of minions to work with. Alyoya's going to be forced to flash, jumped on by Sejuani, stunned up, and all of a sudden Alyoya will get taken out. Adam gets his second of the game. And it's just been non-stop action. 6.5 minutes in 4 kills and fights in every single lane.
And this side lane's starting to become a problem. We said Chasey needed to get these leads because he's the one that has to put pressure in side lanes. If you're in a team fight, he isn't going to do as much as something like a Darius if you're up against a short-range composition like Mad Lions. And Adam getting that early lead and getting more.
Oh man, that's going to be just another for a possible buy sometime. Chasey runs away, escapes with his life, and manages to get the counter with the help of the tower. That was flawless. It is coming down to pixels.
It was the friendly fire. The riposte on the stun from Shio ends up hitting Adam, man. Just like that. Fantastic stuff now, Crowny. Nearly in trouble.
The Moonlight Vigil deck that did so much. White-green getting that range out, using those chakrams as well. Crowny's down low, no flex, but does have that cleanse.
Yeah, there's a combo that you can do with the Felios on green guns where if you shoot the ult and you know it's going to hit, you can actually throw out the Q after as well, and you have enough time between the Q landing to get a double headshot essentially off on the Aphelios, and that's what Karzi was trying to do. Would have ended Crowny, but not quite able to connect with the Q follow-up means he's a little bit slow and not having enough damage to finish that one off. But nice job there from Karzi to try and go for that.
Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. In terms of the game being up a little bit of gold, once we come out of this replay, break down for me who you think this benefits, but such great counterplay from Chasey.
But watch here, riposte, it's on Shio's stun. So it ends up having the riposte from Shio trying to get the CC onto Chasey is what ends up killing Adam in the end. And Shio doesn't want to follow up on towards the Fiora either. So nice job from Chasey. But at the moment, the kill's getting back into Fiora. Fantastic, which is why Shio wants to immediately try and shut that play down. And Hilly up here as well wants to help him out. You don't get to look away from the screen.
Not at all. I don't get to get any of my prep. I think I want to give some credit here to Hilly. He's been very impactful across the lane. Kazi has been able to maintain an even CS in that bottom lane. Labrov is a small level advantage, but once again, look at your minimap. I mean, look at how many members are congregating. It's already a 3 versus 3, and if Adam continues to make his way down, potential for a 4v3. So I'm going to go back and say, like, does this benefit either squad? Like, it's just being drawn down into chaos.
So for BDS, it's great because they can use this in topside for Adam to get some of the plates there. But for Crowny, he's actually going to lose out on this play because they hard forced the answer for the mid push for Mad Lions. But then Mad actually get to enter into bot side jungle, and now Crowny's forced to back away from this bot lane tower. So at the moment, 5 plates on top, you're going to lose another plane on bot. So a lot of the pressure this Rift Herald has already been answered on bot lane.
Apprehend, guillotine coming down, Decimate needs to land. Chasey's going to be forced away. No movement from the rest of the lanes. Minion wave push forward. It's a +5 CS, more importantly, a 500 gold lead. And Adam is clearly stepping forward. Alyoya can jump in. Flashes and ultimates available for both of the BDS bot lanes.
Shio reset immediately off a Rift Herald is now in the spot side though, so Alyoya kind of missed his timing window. Did end up stealing by the Raptors on that top side, but now with Shio on the spot end, it was very difficult to actually pressure any more on this bottom side.
Oh man, take a look at this now. Once again, 3 versus 3. That's a route onto Crowny. Caught out by the assault, and Battery taken out. LeBron forced to flash for his life. Alyoya's already taken down. Crowny gets a kill. That evens it out. 3 apiece. The CC and damage reply was just too high. Death Sentence connects, but Kazi's too low. Flash and Cleanse available for both bot laners while that's going on. Trades in the middle lane as the Chaos Storm is thrown out. The Primordial Burst is still there for Niski if he can find some lockdown. But another kill to BDS evens out the goals.
Yeah, Gravitum is a great gun for setting up those plays, but terrible for when they actually have to try and fight back. Great job from Shio, just reading that Alyoya was going to try and make a play on that bot side and answering down there. Now with Dragon up and available, you have Crowny who should get a decent reset off. You can start to move down, and yeah, trades galore in this top side. But Chasey still doing a good job. Despite the 2 kills going over to Adam, he is keeping the net CS in his favor.
I mean, Dagda, you're not going to get a chance to really break much down, because every time the action breaks out, Shio responding just in the nick of time, and that Glacial Prison did so much.
Yeah, the Glacial Prison is huge here, because as we said, look, Karzi, he has some damage, but with these guns, it's just not what you want for fighting. So when you have Crowny who's able to free fire this entire time, they can burst down the jungler, and Hilly has already thrown everything in the kitchen sink in that fight.
Well, take a look at this. Already, BDS on the move, looking to set up another. Alyoya is being forced away back into his jungle.
This is the problem, though, because you had the late reset coming through because you lost that fight in boss, now BDS are in river.
Hilly flashing into the baby cage, but there's 3 members of BDS waiting for him. He stays alive just long enough for now. All of a sudden, the turn. Crowny jumps onto Alyoya. Hilly's already dropped. 4 members of BDS trying to find yet another. It's blue-purple for Kazi. Alyoya's locked in place. No, too little, too late. 2 more kills to BDS.
And this is just great from BDS, reading, hey, look, we can use the tempo that we picked up, move into river, get the control, and Hilly throwing himself into the middle to try and set up this damage from Niski. But with Rod of Ages, even the tier, Niski doesn't have the damage to one-shot someone right now. So for BDS, they capitalize on that, and we get their second dragon.
I mean, when you look at the compositions as well, the number of skirmishes that we've seen, despite Hilly's best efforts, Shio seems to be everywhere as well, really comboing up multiple members, and fortunately Hilly just not fully aware the rest of BDS is there.
Yeah, I can understand, hey look, if I can flay into the event horizon, we get the stun, maybe we can get a quick kill, but not expecting, as you say, multiple members from BDS to already be in position, and it means that Mad Lions just get to set up, fall behind as BDS get to capitalize on everything that they'd set up. Now you got Alyoya trying to move back up towards this top side as he's trying to see if he can get some vision, because Rift Herald's in 2.5 minutes, but a lot of this is going to be a case of, okay, can we get some damage on towards Adam in this top side so we have a chance of setting up for that.
And I think when you look at BDS, the way they lost yesterday to SK, they were able to pull a significant advantage early on. And unfortunately, the team fight comp SK put together just made it very difficult, and they weren't able to find the fights. The comp they have today will be much stronger at that. The Darius, the Sage frontline, the Lulu for backup. You can see them already grouping to try jump here onto Niski. He's going to be flashing away from the prison. Adam is ghosted forward and steps backwards once the event horizon is dropped. And just before the action breaks out, Dagda, I think Crowny's the guy I want to look at, right? Because if he's able to dance and dodge around, look at his stats in the laning phase from earlier just this week. Phenomenal performance, and with the Zeri Lulu, can have a pop-off game today.
And I think that's the most interesting part that we saw from BDS yesterday was their willingness to play around Crowny and Lavrov in that bot side to see if he could step up and be the carry. But now, in this game, hasn't been getting those same resources. Is slightly ahead, but I think with the 2 kills being answered by the plates that have been taken by Mad, this is going to be an all-out brawl when both these AD carries get to 3 items, and we are inevitably going to have those team fights.
And also, I don't think it's too facetious to say, you can't really say who's got all the resources, because there's been so much movement this game. Really down on this bottom lane. All right, Hilly and Kazi, they've got themselves 3.5 plates. It's 12 minutes, they're pushing onto the tower. Shio starts to step back. While that's happening, Adam is pushing the top lane. It's pretty much advantages for top jungle, minor for bot on the BDS side. Only small leads for Niski and Hilly, and Shio is waiting. No prison available. It's on cooldown for a few more seconds.
There's a lot of Mad Lions players down here. They want to try and get this tower, see if they can have Niski help out, but you've got Nuke on the way now as well.
3, 2, 1. Wild Growth has already been used. Shio's holding onto the prison, throws it out wide. The tower has already fallen, but Alyoya's gone way too deep. Forced to flash away. Charges up the Q, dashes away from the laser. Hilly buys some time with the death sentence, but gets zapped down himself. As Crowny is on a killing spree, his 3rd of the game. Despite the tower falling, the kill goes to BDS.
Shio's ultimate onto Niski stopped him from following up in that fight and meant that BDS could regroup afterwards. Brilliant stuff from BDS on that fight, and with that roam from Nuke.
Now, of course, that does still mean that the tower goes to Mad Lions. It's only a 400 gold game. Every time I see these two trading, I hold my breath. But I do want to highlight 2 dragons at 15 minutes, with another spawning in 2. We're playing on an Ocean Rift as well. Mad Lions cannot afford to give that Ocean Soul over to BDS.
But here's the problem, right? They'd already cleared out this mid-wave, so you already know the nuke's in the way. But watch this ultimate from Shio. As Shio hits Niski with that, that's as Alyoya hits the button to go in. So Niski can't actually get into range with the ultimate to deal the damage he needs to onto the CC'd AD carry. And that means that when BDS show up with all the artillery, they're able to finish off Mad Lions.
All right, so what does this mean now as you move into a little bit more of this mid-game? Normally, in a game of League, this is when we'll start to see a lot of lane assignment shifting, a lot of pressure. We've had that for 10 minutes already. The Rift Herald once again falling, goes into the hands of BDS.
The big problem that you're going to have for Mad Lions now is you're already down 2 dragons. You add a Rift Herald into the mid lane, you automatically get prio, you start to lean over towards this dragon, and then that's where you can really start to shut out Mad Lions. And you can already see Fiora doesn't have control on top side, so it feels like you have an opportunity here as BDS. Crowny and Blabrov need to reset off this wave, though, if they want to try and contest.
Talk to me about the team fight. It's 50 seconds until this dragon spawns. Mad Lions have to contest either this one or the next one. But in my eyes, this is a straight-up advantage for BDS in those 5v5s.
Definitely, and especially when you look at Crowny, because he should be able to finish off this Bloodthirster. No, not quite, okay. Because one of the big things is this new build that we're seeing with Zeri is because you take the overhealed, overheal, you get the extra shield from your Bloodthirst, you get the extra shield from your Mortal Shield Bow, you become so difficult to burst out in these mid-game fights when you complete those 2 items. So the fact you're already looking at a 3rd Dragon now at 16 minutes, it becomes very difficult for Mad to have that burst potential to kill out Crowny. And as well, you've already got positioning here for BDS as they're starting to move in with Shio, and Mad are, well, now moving in a bit blind.
Ooh, if Mad Lions can find somebody to burst down, obviously that's how they want to play this. Use that Event Horizon, use that Death Sentence, but Rift Herald just dropped in the middle lane. Death Sentence connects onto the Battle Pig, but Shio's able to avoid the Event Horizon. Tower falls. What do BDS do? Concede the dragon and push another tower? That seems to be the case.
Yeah, you definitely should. I mean, 1 dragon, an Ocean Dragon to Mad isn't the end of the world, but if you get 2 Terrors off this push and the potential, I mean, look at them already moving. They're immediately running up towards this top side. They want to get another turret for themselves in the top end as well and make it so incredibly difficult now for Mad Lions to really compete with how much gold and how much control they just got on the map.
Yes! Berlin, I love you for that. Thank you very much. I mean, look, that top half of the map is now going to be opened up. A couple of wards placed. They didn't push on this wave, Dagda, for that top outer. Chasey was able to at least shove a wave in. But more importantly for me here, BDS, 1,500 up, 2 dragons to 1. I would have said it was the 20 to 30 minute passage of play against SK where things got squirrely.
Yeah.
But compositionally, it was way harder to execute. This is relatively simple. Can Darius run through an Event Horizon? Does a Glacial Prison? If yes, well, Nuke and Crowny then just delete.
The biggest problem that we saw, though, was how BDS were trying to set up their vision to control their mid-game. That's where SK were finding picks on them and they were able to bring it back. So with Mad Lions, again, having a very pick-heavy composition, you need to be in control and making sure you're not getting caught out around your vision.
And look at this, Mad Lions vision. I'm just highlighting all of it. This looks awful on the minimap, but maybe the observers can zoom out a little. Yes, you guys are so good. Mad Lions have got a lot of defensive wards up in this top off. We're approaching 20 minutes, so Baron hasn't spawned just yet. But while that's happening, BDS have committed to a push on the bottom lane. So we've got a little bit of a split map playing out. And we'll check in on Niski's AP bonus in just a minute from all of that farming from the Baleful Strike. But this should be the 3rd tower secured here in favor of BDS. And with the map open, the gameplay has slowed down a little. And it feels like we may be leaning more towards bigger team fights around objectives if BDS get their way.
Yeah,
Mad Lions try to push the side lanes.
I think the hardest thing now for Mad is if you're not able to control this bot side, it becomes very difficult for you to have that pressure to contest some of these dragon objectives. But BDS already collapsing.
They are indeed. Shio's gonna at least get the bot. That interrupts the dark passage. And now Kazi's in trouble. Gets pulled backwards by Adam and is blown up by Crowny. Chasey teleports into a 5 versus 4. Nuke is shoving in that middle lane. It's 30 seconds to Baron isn't even alive yet.
It's the fact that Adam was so close in that fight that he just yoinked everyone into the cradle with them and was like, you go to sleep now. Mad Lions just take that step too far in the mid lane, and this is just bad decision making. You already know that BDS have left from that bottom side, and really unfortunate for Karzi, the timing on that, but nice job again from Shio to interrupt with this Sejuani, and Adam unstoppable when he manages to close the distance.
There's always 2 sides to a story. Unfortunate on the side of Kazi, exceptional on the side of Shio. Just dive bombing that lantern. So Crown is now 4-0. It is a 2,000 gold lead, the largest that we've seen throughout the course of 20 minutes. And again, look now, all that vision Mad Lions had placed has been cleared, has been challenged. BDS pushing those waves towards the middle. Baron is up, and it is 2 minutes until the next Drake.
I think the one saving grace for Mad Lions is that it becomes very difficult for BDS to try and push this vision into Mad Lions' side of the jungle. Crowny doesn't really have the push power to get control over mid, so you kind of rely on Nuke to be there, but Nuke has to play towards side. So I think a lot of this is going to be a case of, okay, let's try and push the wave a little bit past mid lane, and then try and see if we can start to teeter in towards this top side where we're having Nuke, we're having Crowny push in, and then try and enter into your top side that way. Otherwise, it becomes very hard to do middle 2 sides.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. This Vigor pick has been interesting. Currently up 30 CS. You can see on the right-hand side of your HUD how many stacks he's built up. Next to that Baleful Strike in the passive. 224. I believe Niski's over 410 AP already, which means that that ultimate of the Primordial Burst will be able to do a sizable chunk. However, he needs to find a way to get past the potential front line and get past the Wild Growth, which are quote-unquote counters to that high damage.
Yeah, there's a double timer essentially going on here. Niski gonna scale to all hell. He's gonna be a monster, no doubt about it. But the other timer is actually gonna be Labrov. Labrov is going towards that Mikhail's Crucible. He wants to be able to unleash Adam. Basically go, you run into the event horizon, then you run through it. So if you can actually get towards that as Labrov, then these team fights become a little bit easier for the front line to play. But also, Crownie just becomes so much harder to burst down again because of how little bit more tanky this build makes you.
Dagda. Niski just picked up Death Cap. He now has over 615 AP. We're setting up for a team fight. The event horizon is down. That's a big cooldown. Niski's waddling his way to safety. Takes the lantern, but here comes Shio. The prisoner's held onto for now. It's a 1-for-1. Adam was blown up by the primordial burst. And there goes the prison. At least locking down Niski. Crownie is caught out by the cease and desist. Dunk down. Wild Growth throws it back up. Flashes forward. El Yoya's taken out. Zap, zap, zap. Pew, pew, pew. Crownie's looking to find those kills, but he's caught inside the baby cage. The Baleful Strike will send them away. That event horizon is incredibly pivotal for the Mad Lions.
That's what I want to see from Crownie. The courage to step forward, step up and be accounted for, especially when you got the Lulu in your back pocket. Make sure you can take these fights and immediately you can see the Mad Lions have to turn tail. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of hilarious just seeing Adam get blown up immediately as he steps forward, but the fact that Crownie then knows, okay, the ultimate from Niski's down, right, I can actually turn and, I mean, Adam, gone. Oh. But watch Crownie now. This is what I'm talking about. The fact you have so many shields, you got the wild growth, you can actually play so hyper-aggressive with this version of Zeri. We've seen in the LPL from people like Leave on EDG, what you can do. Look, how many people are going in onto him there? Between the wild growth, the CC, everything. He stays up for so long, flashing forward. That's how you need to try and play this as BDS.
And of course, Crownie will pick up his 6th kill of the game. Call Labrov, James Bond, with 007 on the scoreline. And the 3rd dragon has now been picked up. So for Mad Lions, yes, they were able to get a kill. Yes, they were able to fend off at least the V1 of the assault. But ultimately, they are behind in gold. They are behind in kills. They are behind in towers. They are behind in dragons. And there may only be one last stand, because if that Ocean Soul is picked up, it does make it harder. I will admit, I didn't think Niski was going to be able to burst down Darius quite as quickly as he did. So kudos to Niski as well as the rest of the Mad Lions.
Immediate Baron start here. The big one is going to be Infinity Edge complete for Crownie before this next dragon. Means he's going to be unstoppable. Mad Lions have already committed too many members to bot side, so won't really be in a position to try and contest this. So Yoya doing his best to get there, but it feels like it's going to be too little too late.
It's going low. It's going low. Here he comes up, death sentence forward, and BDS pick up the Baron at what cost. However, Niski is being run down by Adam just a little. The engage comes out from El Yoya. Cease, desist. Labrov taken out. Teleport being channeled as well. Mad Lions have got themselves 30 seconds in a 5 versus 4, but they are now playing into a Baron-empowered BDS. They should at least be able to pick up this tower.
I think that might have been a misclick from Niski on the TP. I think he was trying to get towards the ward that we can just see in here. Oh, that's a big circle. I want the little circle that's just in there, so then he can actually get into position, but doesn't matter.
Well, where's the primordial burst? The apprehend comes forward. That's just so much reverse damage. How am I supposed to play-by-play that burst? The prison comes out and Hilly is popped where he stands. BDS are gifted a few kills. They extend that gold lead. And just like that, 30 seconds, Baron-empowered minions, and pretty much free mid lane. This may equal an inhib.
Easily going to be an inhib, and Crownie, with the damage that he has right now, can tear through this. You can already see Yoya trying to go for the reset. It's just a case of how much they actually want to try and take here. Should get the inhibitor. You can already see both side lanes being worked on as well by Nuke and Adam. So back away, get your vision into the jungle, and make sure that you're in a fairly decent spot now to keep this pressure up.
I mean, BDS have kept up the pressure the entirety of this game. 25 minutes in, a kill every 2 minutes, and it feels like it could have been more. I'm tired just watching because Hilly was roaming so much. Shio was ganking every single lane. And the breakneck pace has ultimately led to more advantages for Team BDS. They got the kills, they got the towers. They have been in Mad Lions' face, and this comp from Mad Lions has never had a chance to really breathe or have the time to build up.
And it's a great shout from BDS. Look at the champions you have. They do better in these early skirmishes, in these early fights.
And here's yet another one. As all of a sudden, so much damage onto Hilly. He's going to be forced to flash. Manages to escape for now. Steps forward here. Comes Crownie, the flay, and that's just a zap down from Nuke. The tower falls as well. Baron-empowered minions still pushing forward. BDS have got so much out of this Baron power play, and they may just be done for now. Chasey trying to get something back, but 5k down, a minute and a half. Take a look at the damage dealt throughout the course of this game. Despite that gigantic burst, it's been Nuke and Crownie really cleaning things up.
And Chasey's just trying his damnedest on his side, but he's never going to get into a position to really threaten the turret. Adam might even stop this.
Oh, he does indeed. The Apprehend comes out, level 15 on level 15. The Noxian Guillotine comes out, one more Decimate. A couple seconds longer for that riposte, but that's huge. 57 on the Dragon, 45 on the Death Timer. Chasey will have to commit the TP, and I think more importantly, BDS are going to be able to get into that river first.
But the problem is for Mad Lions is how do you even try and contest vision to set up then for the TP for Chasey? You already have super minions in the mid lane. You've got everyone on BDS to start to push in on the spot side. And now they're just going to continue this pressure to make sure you're stuck in your own base. And then they just fall back in 30 seconds. It's such an easy pickup for BDS.
Yeah, but look at the itemization difference as well. Crown, the Crucible there for Labrov, IE as well as Bloodthirster. And Mythic completed for Crownie versus 2.5 for Kazi. So just on itemization alone, BDS can smack Mad Lions with their wallets. And Shio, he's waiting. Glacial Prison into an Adam. Apprehend. Niski's the target. He's going to throw out the Baby Cage on. Adam will find himself the death sentence in the flay. It's a 2-on-4 as the teleport's coming out. GA has now been popped. Adam's in trouble. The rest of the squad from BDS is pushing into the base. The inhibitors are focused. Decimate buys so much time. 4 members of Mad Lions now running back. As BDS, they are now on the retreats.
And they have to run quick, but I don't think they can get out of here. Mad Lions are coming in.
Here comes Crownie! The Ultra Shock Laser and zap, zap, zap! Chasey is being blown up where he stands! Crownie's got the speed up, he's got the glitter ones, he's got the double, and he's got the backup. Hops over the wall. Ayoya's running for his life. They get the inhibitor on the bottom lane, they get 2 more kills, and now there's a soul available as well. Ayoya's been pushed away, and this is BDS's game to lose.
They are destroying Mad Lions in this one. Fantastic stuff. Nuke probably going to even catch Ayoya here.
Well, that Death Ray is fired out.
Look at Labrov.
Storms are forward.
The little Lulu
Here
that could.
comes Labrov! He gets jumped on in the face, and Shio will back him up. 3 seconds for the prison. Does Shio even need to commit it? Will at least get the flash out of Ayoya. He escapes with his life. The soul is picked up and BDS in absolute control.
I like the heads up from Labrov to literally just throw his head into the face to try and stop the Void. Doesn't quite work out, but this was a way too big of an overextension from BDS. You have your win on the bottom side. They think they can make a quick pick, but don't realize the Mad Lions are around because they're, again, not really playing around their vision. And with that, Adam does end up going down. Shio manages to escape, but Crownie, he's just too big. 7 kills on the Zeri at the start of this fight, 9 by the end of it.
I mean, when you look at the overpowered nature of Crownie Zeri right now, while, yes, Shio and Adam's call was undoubtedly bold in the middle lane, they got the inhib, they got the soul, they got multiple kills. So the net positive was great overall. And
Are you trying to say it's a great base? Is that what you're trying to get at?
I was just
yeah.
trying to say that maybe Shio and Adam were just master baiters in that particular situation. And 16-6, nearly 6,000 gold. And BDS now with super minions in multiple lanes. Honestly, however they want to close this out, they can look to do it. Because despite Shio being caught, Crownie maybe a little bit of trouble. But in between 2 members, here comes Shio for the save. The guillotine comes out. There is just too much damage, too many items in the lead. And with 10 seconds to Baron, BDS can play the safe, or they can just pour into the base.
He's still full health. That's so
It's
dumb.
unbelievable.
It's so dumb. But now BDS, as you say, Baron up and available. Hilly is going to see what he can do in Niski. I don't feel like he's got incredibly high hopes. Niski has a good amount of AP, maybe a steal?
I mean, Dark Matter is going to be one of the only ways. Baleful Strike and Dark Matter, I just don't think he's going to be able to get in range. 4,000 hit points, hop over the wall, Apprehend and Lantern backwards. BDS will be able to pick up this Baron. 10 seconds for Ayoya, 18 seconds for Chasey, and Niski's the next target. Labrov may want to chase him down. Decides against it in the end. And for BDS, this is a significant lead. And they've been able to control the pace of the game as Crownie now looking for Kazi, forced to use that Lantern to safety. The base will have super minions from the bottom lane in just a moment. The inhibitor in the middle lane will be resecured again, and at 30 minutes, Mad Lions have been suffocated out of this entire match.
There's just nothing that they can really do. Kazi!
Look at that damage from the death rate. 50% already down. Ultra Shock Laser, that chunks Niski for 30% of his hit points. Also, there are stopwatches on, I think, both Nuke and Crownie. So even if they do get jumped on. Stopwatch that primordial burst, stopwatch that CC, and they can continue the fight.
I think the timer is coming to a close for Mad Lions, though. Nothing left. Bot inhib, mid inhib gone, top soon to follow, and Niski's trying to land these event horizons, but BDS just playing on the edge.
Yep, timer's down. All of a sudden, Crowny and Shio stepping forward. The prison is up, waiting for Shio to pull the trigger. Blue-red for Kazi's not the best in the 5v5. But all three inhibitors are down, and BDS using those Baron empowered minions. The prison goes wide, the pig gets pulled backwards, he's able to escape with his life, but the Chaos Storm takes down Hillisang, and in a 5v4, Nuke is now the target. The stopwatch used, saving his life from Elyoya, and Elyoya is taken out by Crowny. Legendary as the first Nexus turret falls. The second Nexus turret is moments away, and despite the event horizon, there's too little, it's too late. It's BDS destroying Mad Lions.
Crowny 11-0 by the end of that game. A fantastic performance on the Zeri, especially when we had so much of our focus up towards that top side of the map, with Adam on the Darius, seeing what he could do, and Crowny's just pew-pewing his way to the top and the bottom.
I am exhausted. The pace of that game was unrelenting. And I think a lot of credit here to BDS, because yesterday, their early game looked great. They generated a significant advantage. They were proactive. But as soon as they got to that mid-game and their composition wasn't able to continue that pace, SK, frankly, smacked them around.
And I think a lot of that was a case of, okay, we have SK playing around their vision well, looking for picks. Every time BDS poked their nose in somewhere, they were getting a bitten off. This game, though, they played a lot slower. They were willing to trade things like Fort Dragon for the double tower in mid, which was a great move. And then we saw still a little bit of those jitters where we had, you know, Adam overstepping a little bit with Shio in that mid lane. But overall, with Crowny as big as he was, it did not matter in the slightest.
Well, listen, we haven't had too many quick shot moments together,
Okay.
Dad. I'm going to throw one at you.
Hit me.
With
Ready.
Mad Lions, the winter second place squad, down 0-2. Do they just suck now? So take a look on Twitter at LEC for your player of the game nominees, Adam, Shio, and Crowny. Those are your three nominees. A little bit more seriously, though, yesterday and today, and we heard from Mac as well, playing a little bit of the drafts, I think both games, their opponents ran away in the early game. Yesterday, Vitality got a significant lead. There was no way back in. Today, BDS got a pretty impactful lead, not necessarily gold, but control. Mad Lions just didn't have a way back in.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem was locking in the Fiora blind, especially against Adam when he's happy to go towards the Darius. Felt like he didn't really have an answer then in the top side.
Was Vigor good for you?
I think it was an interesting one. I think if you have a stronger team fight, it works out a lot better, where it's just a protection cage essentially for the Aphelios, but without that strong front line, it just wasn't there.
Yeah, it really wasn't the case. Mad Lions take the loss. I get to say something I don't get to say in the studio very often, and it brings me great joy to throw to Shocks doing the interview with Shio.
Thank you so much, Trevor. Indeed, Shio, who absolutely smurfed this game. I have to say, congratulations.
Thank you.
You seem to have Elyoya's number from start to finish. Talk to me about kind of your game plan and why you think you were able to always be there when he tried to pull a gank off.
I mean, we had Darius Sejuani topside, so we knew that we wanted to attack a Chazy, and Elyoya had lucky to match him. So I just went to lane gank and counter gank. So it's not that hard, but yeah.
It wasn't that hard, but you came out on top, so obviously you had the better game plan. Overall, in the game, I feel like it was tricky maybe to fight against the Veigar. Of course, the range on the Q and W was slightly increased as well. What are the difficulties in playing team fights versus that Veigar?
We were a bit low range against Veigar, so it was kind of tough. But we had Darius flash E, my ult, so I think we did great, and Veigar alone cannot really carry.
That's true. Tiny Master of Evil, but maybe not alone to carry. When it comes to your engages, they were extremely effective, I think, today. Yesterday, there were some question marks versus SK in terms of the team fight specifically. I see that you're smiling already.
Yeah.
So tell me about the focus specifically in that department today.
I mean, yesterday we got a bit lost about fighting. We choked a bit the first game, I will say. But today it was much easier with Sejuani as well. So we see someone, like I ult him and he's dead, most likely.
See hero, kill hero. When it comes to BDS overall, I think everybody's really excited to see what is the ceiling going to be. But a recurring issue seems to have been the mid-game decision-making at times, or the late-game calling. Where do you think the issues lie in that regard in your team, and how are you planning on working for them?
We are working a lot on our mid-game. I think we had a lot of issue of taking mid-tier 1, for example. And we worked a lot of this. We get second herald as well. So I think when you get mid tower, the game is much easier to play. So we were working on this.
Okay. For you as a jungler, I think you've impressed so many people with your short time in the LEC already. What do you think are the things that you've improved on the most in your short time already?
I think I showed that I have creative passing, good engaged junglers. Even my game yesterday was not the best. But yeah, still a lot to show, I think.
Okay, merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to kick it over to a quick break, but we'll be right back with Game 2.
Flash forward!
Oh, sentenced to death. Nuka still got that flash. 150 down to 100. Tick, tick, boom! And we're still not dead. Now, Adam, can you continue to step forward? Have the minion wave behind him. Looking for those Qs, getting the spam out below 100. Chasey is going to be in trouble. The heal, the damage. Adam takes the solo.
Yeah, let's fight, okay?
I can flash on
No,
him.
yeah, you can.
I'm in range on Veigar.
I go.
Flash on him. I'm coming. I flash Veigar. Okay, nice.
Nice, go mid, go
Maybe I
mid.
get flash.
One bot, no, one bot. One bot. I will kill, I will kill.
We can win.
Ah, spring. The harsh cold melts away. Step by step, everything blooms. For some, the winter was hard, but nature always finds a way. Through growth, the flower emerges through the...
Some things take time, like revenge.
Revenge.